Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back if this is your 6th Perry Mason episode review. Hope you're all doing well, being safe, being good to each other, the whole 9 yards. Before I start up this review, I got some big news for the Masoners. Great news, even though I claimed this was a mini-series when we started this review series. Now, Jesus Christ, over a month ago, it's already fucking... It's crazy how much time has passed since... this was like, it's still weird. Technically, we are still I don't know. Yeah, I already lost my train of thought. But basically, Perry Mason has been renewed for season 2. That's right. We will be back with a new batch of reviews when season 2 is available. Whenever that is. But since this is an HBO show, I'm gonna guesstimate it's gonna be a while before, considering COVID and everything. I'm excited. I'm happy. I mean, for me, I was sold on this being a miniseries, so I'm not entirely that upset that they're going to continue. However, I think since episode 4, I've been very much more invested in this world, considering the fact that they're, like, I don't know why, like, I think that, like, when we get to the season review, now it's officially now a season 1 review. Once we get to that, I'll talk more about, initially, I was a little bit, like, it was slow going at first, but then as soon as episode 4 hit, the show just, like, pumped up in a new way, and now being able to see that we are going to get another season, we're going to get more more chapters out of this world of Perry Mason. I'm so excited. I can't wait for it. And after this week, oh man, I really want to see more of this. Like, I really do. This was such a damn good episode. And yeah, so yeah, there you go. So season 2 is confirmed. When is it coming out? Since I guess at the end of the day, it just depends on the writing on the show. I am aware this was filmed, I believe. Now, that's the weird thing about when this show was filmed, because I don't know when the show was filmed, but because RDJ was busy filming another thing that he wasn't able to do this. But it was so weird why he dropped out. But anyway, so whenever season 2 is filmed, which will probably sometime next year, I'm assuming, it'll be a while before we come back. But it'll be great to eventually, come back to this world. I know we still have like 2 more chapters to talk about when, excluding this one. I understand that, but still. It's just a great feeling to know that we will be back for another run of episodes. It's always great to have that feeling. Yes, I am very much of doing a wink and nod to my other review series, Katie Clean, not being so lucky. But hopefully it will. Who knows? Anyway, back to Perry Mason. Back to, like, not future Perry Mason, current Perry Mason. This week, we got chapter 6. We got episode 6. And let me tell you what. The last 2 episodes were definitely a 2-parter, where it was definitely the end of EB, and last week was the beginning of Perry Mason, figuring out the next step inadvertently of his life, which is becoming a lawyer, becoming a defense attorney. And this episode, we plainly see Perry has a lot more to go, but it's still his charm and his character that's going to make him stand out in his future career. And this is like, he may be taking a lot of heavy hits because, again, this is his first real case, and it's the trial of the freaking year, maybe the trial of the century, and this is his first case, and so I can't fault him on that. And it was just so interesting seeing the well-known, well-caught up, obviously greedy and corrupt DA versus against a man who's literally just starting out his lawyer career, and that battle, when we get to see it, it was so weird because for the first 4 episodes, it was EB versus the DA. It was so clear that this rivalry was going to, like, be the major focus. But now that EB's gone and Perry has to step in and take over EB's place, seeing that, like, this is a case between the sophisticated old-timer versus the brash newcomer, and damn, this, like, was a very tense match. It's like one of those, like, matchups where it's like, you think it's gonna go that one way and then it doesn't, and it's like, and you see the reaction on the other side, it's like, oh damn, I wasn't expecting this. Anyway, let's talk more about this episode. Let's get through the Butcher recap and talk about it. So, we begin, after the recap, we get to the trial. So, literally, we just fast forward from Perry decides to be a defense attorney, or a lawyer, to the bar exam finishing, to now he's representing Emily. We're here. We're at the case. We're at the trial. We're doing the opening statements, And what is very interesting is that, like I just said before during my intro, was that this definitely does set the precedence to what these opponents are, where we have our DA played by Stephen Root, being this like sophisticated, profound speaking lawyer who knows what he's talking about and is trying to tell the story of Emily being a woman who has committed infidelity and has done a lot of wrong things, and considering the fact that this is still all circumstantial, there's a lot to prove that she's guilty, versus Perry being this is his first time freaking talking in front of all these many people, choking up, getting his voice broken up. I'm like, damn. And I thought my first public speaking event was horrible. Believe me, mine was horrible. And seeing that, like, we even after that rocky start, we get to see what Perry's life currently is. He's a little bit more sober. He's running his quote-unquote firm out of his house. Pete's his private investigation. I'm pretty sure I'm pro bono, or just basically doing work for free. Damn it, I forgot, like, the assistant. I'm so sorry that for 6 episodes, I keep forgetting the name of EB's former assistant, not because she got fired, but because he died. I'm sorry if I keep forgetting the name. I literally keep remembering the name, and then, it just slips. She's there too. I'm presuming her wife's there too. So they're all helping out, trying to figure out this case. Perry needs some new evidence to kind of like get the ball rolling, trying to figure out how do we get this solved whatsoever. Pete's kind of a little bit annoyed since Perry's literally making him try to solve a miracle case, since the evidence for this case is very thin right now, considering the fact that with the corrupt police department, with the corrupt DA, it's very hard to get like the evidence they need to win this case to happen. And so they're just hoping for a miracle right now. And I believe we cut the next day of court, where I believe we get through the first witness. Or yeah, this is the thing. I'm sorry. Like I'm focused on so many specific parts of the episode, but I'm blanking on the in-between, so I apologize. Again, this is the butchered recap, so please go watch the episode so you have a better understanding of, like, what's actually going on, instead of, like, me rambling on. Yeah, so the first real witness I remember was the hotel manager, or the motel manager, I'm not sure what it was. Recalling this day where George Gannon and Emily were being signed in under a false pretense, of false names, and he goes to check. It turns out they were having sex, and conveniently enough, this guy has hidden a well-placed hole, because I'm pretty sure this is a motel. And let's be honest here, everyone. Motels are people who are just, this is the last minute planning, we need a room to stay for the night, / people who want to bang. Let's just be completely honest there. That's the whole point of motel. I'm sorry if you're in the motel business, I'm so sorry, but that's the goddamn truth. Anyway, so this guy, well-placed people, he's seeing George's butt. I'm going to tell my George that after this review's over, banging Emily out, but he hears crying from the other room. Turns out baby Charlie was there in the adjoining room. And yeah, on paper, this is a very bad image to like place Emily, because like Emily is basically putting sex over her child. And even though her child was crying, she was very much still into the mood of coitus over her own baby. So yeah, on paper, this is a very much of a bad painting of the image for Emily. And goddamn, this DA is so freaking smart. I'm starting to remember we did get another scene in between here. Obviously, Perry, not having this access to this information, gets mad at Emily once they leave court, and basically yells at her, berates at her that you're supposed to tell me everything, that you are my client, you need to tell me all the information that we need to win this case, and you're not doing it. And that makes sense. And even Emily's just like trying to and it's so weird because like Emily's just like a liar. I'm sorry. Like even though we still don't know the outcome of this case, we still don't know what really happened as of yet. Emily has just lied at all corners, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this woman has to get a better grip on her situation. Considering the fact that first she said these were just love letters. These nothing happened, no sex happened. It was just love in the form of letters. That was it. And then all of a sudden it turned to it was a kiss. Now it just turns to no, we banged. We banged. I'm sorry, like that's just like after a certain point, it's like, what can you really say and do? Like, come on, let's be honest here. Also, now I remember. So the first real witness was the husband. Damn, I forgot his name. We haven't seen him for a while, so I completely forgot his name. So Mr. Dawson was the first witness testifying that his wife was a cheater, basically trying to like put all the blame on her. And obviously Perry smartly tries to paint him also in a negative light to kind of like disprove his credibility and such and show his true characteristics, as he's also been a liar before. He has lied to his wife in the past, has withheld information from her, all that sorts. And then he basically makes the accusation that there is no real way to know if that child's even mine. There's a highly possible chance that that child might not even be mine. And considering what's going on with the George thing, that is highly possible. Like, I am sorry to say this. I am being like, here's the thing. Until we know concrete in the next couple of weeks what really happened in this case, I cannot hold any like, oh, she's innocent or he's innocent. Like, I don't know. We don't know. And yes, it is, of course, Perry is trying to like smartly disprove this guy's testimony by just saying that like, hey, you have a lot of motivations here too to like get this involved under your rug. So you're not quite exactly innocent here, which obviously is right. And so that was the first witness. Meanwhile, Pete's off doing his own solo investigation. He goes into this supposed house that I believe belonged to George Gannon or someone else. I don't remember why he was at the house, but he goes in while construction workers are working on remodeling the place. He finds a bin full of like rejected mails, and he finds one to the name of George Gannon. Well, I don't think George Gannon, but like the address, something just matches up to George Gannon. It's apparently a check from the church that Emily's being taken care of right now. And so once Pete returns this information to Perry, they sort of deduce that George has been stealing from the church, that he's not entirely the honest person. Well, basically, this guy's not even honest in the first place if he's considering help. Oh, he was considering. He actually did help a wife cheat on her husband with. So that was correctly true. And then, so even with that information, I don't think it was quite enough, even though it was like a big information. But of course, the number one thing that Perry has that could at least turn the tides, at least, is the dentures. That Officer Drake presented him. So the thing they got to do is present this in court, have Officer Drake admit to it, and pretty much destroy the police department's credibility on this case, which would be a big win for Emily, but would be a big red flag / target mark on Officer Drake, considering the fact Drake gave the teeth to Perry under the condition that, like, you do not mention me in court, you do not mention me at all, like I have nothing to do with this, like you can use this piece of evidence in any aspect except connecting me. And conveniently enough, Officer Drake is going to be called in as a witness. So I don't know what comes first, Drake or the mortician. Yeah, I think, the Drake goes first. So conveniently enough, the next day, Drake is the next witness on stand, and after DA kind of like presents the clean and bow tie version, Perry is still under the whole guilt-ridden thing of like, does he present the dentures and call out Drake on his lack of acknowledgement on his case report, or does he withhold it to protect Drake and of course his wife and his kid? Perry does the right thing. He does the humane thing and decides not to use it against Drake. He just tries to do some fishing, hoping to get like some sort of like reliable answer out of him that's not related to anything going on. But it was a solid moment that I think Drake understood that Perry is a good guy. He's not trying to be a typical lawyer that's just like, I gotta do whatever I can for my lawyer. No, Perry is an honest human being regardless of his faults. And he's still even trying to protect another guy while he's trying to protect a woman from basically serving a life sentence. So even with that, Drake also gets called in, like, I think later on to his commander's office. Apparently he's getting bribed by this, like getting a little like, here's some reward money, like you didn't get caught, you did good, here's some money, like get the fuck out of here. That's basically how the conversation went. However, I think then later on Drake does make a private visit to Perry about everything that just happened, although he's thankful that Perry was thinking of him and his family and his life. He was a bit bummed out that he wasn't able to like get that revelation out and tell everyone like what's really going on. And he's got a point. I do feel that Drake does want to do the right thing, but considering the fact the current world is right now, I mean, for him, not us. I mean, our world has so many other problems right now, and consider some similar problems. But like I was saying, Yeah, he's basically kind of disappointed that he wasn't able to like make that testimony and get that on the case. But instead, he decides to help Perry out a little bit further by. So before there was the witness with, yeah, the hotel manager, the motel manager, whatever. That Perry was arguing for it to be removed since the fact that he was not scheduled to appear that day. The DA was forcefully relinquished to give them every single piece of evidence, which is customary. My cousin Vinny taught me back that. Yeah, I can't speak English. Sorry about that. Anyway, so since they have this advantage of like the DA just basically like, let's just shove in all bunch of pieces of papers on top of the evidence and let them look for it. They'll basically never find it. And lo and behold, Drake has the dentures again and kind of like drops it in the one of the boxes to kind of prove that like, oh hey, the DA did give this information, so technically dare I fall here, which is like another like, should Perry be doing this? I mean, considering the fact who he's dealing with, I'm not surprised he's doing that, so let it be. Anyway, and then I believe the next witness is the mortician. He goes to testify about the body, testify to everything, and Perry, his immediate goal is to like get him to admit that George was killed, not committed by suicide, trying to get all that sort of figured out. And of course, obviously, Perry is trying to paint that image, but of course, the DA, being too smart, realizes his coup and decides to call in the witness, the judge, to kind of like sidebar it, kind of like get Perry to stop before he says anything that's going to destroy the DA's case. The judge had enough of this; it kind of calls them away to his goddamn, what's the name? I literally had an assignment last year to do this. Yeah, I forgot. His chambers to kind of talk about that. He's pissed off the fact Perry's trying to do this, and he kind of like derails everything. Like, Perry, you can't do this, you can't do that. And obviously Perry is an honest man. Like, sure, he is technically now a lawyer, but he's still a very much a human being, and saying like, this is unfair, this is unjust, this is all crooked, this is all like making this even more difficult to prove Emily's innocence. And that's what's been going on. Pete's also been doing some solo investigation, trying to get into the background of the other two men of the three that were there in the first episode who got murdered by that detective. He's trying to figure out some information behind them. Pete's finding squats since like there's just basically no real record of them anywhere. But Pete manages to find like this lasting connection between them, as well as we got scenes with the DA talking to the detective who killed those men. Trying to basically like prepare him for court, considering the fact that if he fucks up at court, Perry will demolish him. He will destroy his stance and pretty much make the jury second question everything. And of course, the DA doesn't want that. He needs this win. The detective's like, who gives a fuck? I'm gonna do this. I'm sorry if I'm cursing here a lot, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to. I'm in the zone. I'm in the mood here. He's basically saying like, I don't care about Mason. I got this in the bag. Like, nothing's gonna happen. Don't worry about this. And then we get a scene later with the partner where the partner's kind of like furious the fact that he started everything. This guy, like, because of you, everything about this happened. Everything happened. So now his partner's basically like, hey, if something goes happen, we're all screwed. Like, we're going down. You need to kill everyone who still has a remote possibility of a chance that can incriminate you in court. So he's probably going to do that next time. What else did I miss? Did I miss anything before we get back to the court? Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, I remember. So the assistant, no longer assistant, now just a helper. She goes to check the public records, as well as go with Perry to check the financial statements of the church. Trying to figure some stuff out, but while Perry's distracting one of the accountants, or one of the leaders, she manages to steal, I guess, one of the record books from the church, and she manages to find some connections between the church and this like very obscure land that was purchased a long time ago for a very cheap price of $1, which is like, damn, that is the most freaking cheapest land I can ever see. They see this as like another potential avenue to try and get Emily exonerated, but before anything happens, the last witness that the DA calls for is the protector for Emily when she was in prison, or the jail at least. And she's basically like lying to the court, like basically saying like, no, this is what happened, this is what I heard, and since I'm under oath, I'm telling the truth. So yeah, take my word as fact. She admitted that she killed her baby. And, like, everyone's like, oh, my God. This is, like, oh, my God. It's, like, the biggest revelation. Like, we got the confirmation. Like, not really, but whatever. And Emily's still under the pretense that Sister Alice will get her son resurrected, so the case will be thrown out of court, which I'm like, ooh, this is not going to happen. That is not going to happen the way it's going to happen. But, yeah, that's not a good sign for Emily. Also, I forgot about Sister Alice. So, she's been basically sidebarred for the entire episode. I mean, she had a couple scenes, but, I mean, we're going to have focus on her soon since Easter Sunday is fairly closing in about, and her prophecy of she's going to bring back Charlie somehow. And her mother basically has a plan in motion in case, and inevitably, Alice's planned resurrection goes horribly wrong and has bags packed up. Alice doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to run away from their problem, but considering the circumstances, like, they're going to be ruined after this thing goes public, and after it's figured out she can't do this. So, kudos to the mom for having this planned out. So, after that revelation, even though that Perry and their team is next up to present their witnesses for them to present their side of the case. So while they're up next, Perry's kind of like second guessing himself since he's of course not like EB. He's just not that great of a lawyer yet, and he also goes kind of mad when he starts intimidating EB to kind of have this like moral conversation with him. But it's also just a way to like process his grief considering the fact of the way EB went out and stuff like that. But it turns out Perry is heading up to the house of the owner of, because when the assistant, no longer an assistant, just a helper, went to go explore the titles and deeds, she finds a name and an address. So Perry goes off to investigate that one, and so he heads up there, and sorry, I'm saying I'm sorry. He gets there, he finds the guy, but the guy's ready for him with a shotgun. And I also forgot Officer Drake. And last thing I'll say before we end up this butchered recap, Officer Drake, shout out to him, like, just shout out, because this man, living in this world, in this time period of America, regardless of everything thrown against him, he's still an honest to God good human being. If I have to use Batman terminology here, Perry Mason is Batman, this guy's Commissioner Gordon. Because guess what, this guy, no matter what, how corrupt things are, he's still honest, he's still caring, he cares about his people, he cares about his family, he cares about doing the right thing. What an honest, upstanding citizen, that he actually thinks of his wife and basically sends her off to go and be protected, considering the fact that if something goes wrong, if something goes awry during the next couple of days, and then he's incriminated, like, they're going to go after her. But if she's out of the state, if she's away from here, then she'll be fine. So I gotta give kudos to Drake for thinking about her on that front. And yeah, so anyway, the episode ended with Perry being meeting this guy, the owner of this house and of this land, and has a shotgun ready at hand. So what will happen next to Perry, I don't really know, but I'm very excited. But again, so I really did enjoy this episode. I felt like this was, it wasn't the beginning of something, but it was kind of like, this is the rough start to where we'll see Perry eventually in the future. That hopefully he'll continue this brash persona, but also he'll like be a little bit more professional. Hopefully, I'm not sure. Remember, I never read the books. I never read the material based on this, so I apologize if that's not usually what he is. So my bad. But this is the best thing about watching the show, is that we get this whole fresh take on him. So I'm able to like kind of like get this understanding like who he might be in the future. But I could be wrong. Who knows? I'm still very much interested how this is all going to turn out, because even though like Emily has lied before, and the scene with her and George was like, did we really need to see that scene? Did we really need to see George's butt? I don't think we did, but guess what? We did, and guess what? We're gonna have to live with that. And I forgot this is on limits. I forgot what else I want to say, but I really did enjoy this episode. I can't wait to see where next week's going to turn out. Hopefully Perry survives. Hopefully Perry's defense plan will be solid enough to kind of like rock the DA's world. And yeah, so for me, I give this episode 2 thumbs up, and that's going to do it for me, guys. So if you want to wear this, my hair was a mess, was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of What's on the Tube and what we do overall What's on the Tube, we do DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every Friday after a brand new episode on Mondays from DC Universe, or on Tuesday nights on the CW. But you can catch it all for free on Wednesday on the CW.com and the CW app. We also do Doom Patrol Season 2 episode reviews each and every Saturday after a brand new episode on Thursdays on both DC Universe and HBO Max, both streaming services. But if you only care about Perry Mason, then you're in luck. We'll be back next week with the next episode review. A little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up ahead for the Perry Mason stuff on the What's in the Tube side of things. So next week will be episode 7 review. Week after that, season finale review. Season finale review, because we will be back with another season. Then the week after that, we'll be doing our season 1 review. And then, for the first time ever, now I'm saying, after that, we will be doing a season 2 prediction. What I hope to see from season 2, what direction I want them to take, all that sorts. So, you'll still have Perry Mason content to enjoy from us for at least another 4 weeks before we figure out what the heck we're going to do next. And I believe that is it. So, I think I covered all bases. Nothing really else to announce as of this moment. We're pretty much on course with our normal schedule for at least another 2, 3, 4 weeks. So we're good for now. Future Joe will have to figure that shit out eventually. But again, if you were unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of What's on the Tube, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube.com. Ring the bell for notification when the next episode review for Perry Mason is live. Like, favorite, share if you want to, but it does help us out in the long run, guys. It really does. As well as follow us on social media to be up to date on new videos, updates to current videos, or just any stuff we just need to talk about. So for you Masoners, I'll see you guys next week. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this episode. How'd you like Perry's first foray into the realm of trials? What do you think is going to happen next? And let me know. I'm always open to conversation in the comments, guys. And I'll see you Masoners next week. Peace out.